Hello, Valerie. Hello, Jazzy. Okay, hello, everyone. Welcome to my live stream. All right. Hello, Amanda. Hello, Samuel. Hello, Min. Hello, Holly. Hello, Maura and Jazzy and Valerie and Mabel. Hello, Cece. Hello, Anita and Isla. And hello, Reem and Sun Sun Bao. Hello, Raham and Alfred and Alan. Hello. Okay, so welcome to Mark's Musings. This is a live stream where I'm going to try to get you guys to talk about some deep topics by introducing some quotes to you and then talking about what they mean. Okay? So, we're going to start with a very good quote from a very famous man from American history. Probably many of you have heard this before. So here is our first quote that I want you to read and think about. Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I remember. Involve me and I learn. Benjamin Franklin. Tell me and I forget, teach me and I remember, involve me and I learn. So what does that mean? What is that about? Learning by doing. Yeah, I mean, yes, but more than that. There's a bigger idea here. What's the general idea involved in this sentence? What's the general idea? Tell me and I forget, teach me and I remember, involve me and I learn. What does involve me mean? To be involved with something, what does that mean? To be involved means to be part of it. To connect. Yeah, that's the big word I think I was really looking for, is to connect. To be involved with something means you're connected on many different levels. So that's the most important part of this statement. Tell me and I forget. Tell me is just very, it's not involved. It's not connected. It's a very quick connection. It's not a deep connection. It's a shallow connection, right? To tell someone something is just a shallow connection. Teach me. Okay, that's better. You're making more connections when you teach. But when you involve someone with the topic, when the student is involved with the topic they're learning, that's when they remember, they really learn. Okay? And so you need to understand that learning is not a process of speed. If you're thinking about how fast you learn something, you're thinking about the wrong things. You're supposed to be thinking about how well you learn something, how deeply you learn something, how many connections you can make with something, not how quickly it can be done. Because the other statement that's true is the faster you learn, the faster you forget. The slower you learn, the slower you forget. So if you learn in a repeated manner over a great deal of time, you will remember. I call it lifestyle learning. Okay, learning needs to be part of your lifestyle. When learning becomes part of your lifestyle, you learn a little bit all the time. Okay, and so this is about understanding that if you really want to learn something, then you need to be connected with it. And it's not about finishing. There is no such thing as finishing learning. No one has ever finished learning anything. Because everything that has ever been created, until the world ends, it's not over. So, it takes time. It takes time. You have to be patient, and you have to be willing to be connected deeply, right? So, if you connect yourself deeply over a long time, you will learn very well. If you're always trying to learn in a very shallow way, you're never going to feel comfortable or confident in your learning. Okay? Well, that's interesting. Valerie says it's almost like the difference between RAM and long-term memory. Yeah, it's vaguely similar. It's vaguely similar. Alan says it takes 10,000 hours to become a professional. That's what they used to say, right? They say that to do something, to become a master of something takes 10,000 hours. Of course, that's not really true. To become a master of something, the only thing that's true about that statement is, I will say, it takes a minimum of 10,000 hours to become a master of something. But it may take longer than that. And it's still a funny, weird way to think about things, because a master never counts how many hours they've learned. The master is not worried about how many hours they've done something. So it's weird to think about that way. But I get your point. Yeah. Some people adapt quickly like talent. Adapting quickly, or having a particular skill in something, a natural ability in something, that has nothing to do with how deeply you connect with it. We're talking about the way you approach learning. Because most of you approach learning like the idea is to remember everything. The idea is not to remember everything. The idea is to understand everything. If you understand everything, you will remember everything. Do you see how that works? Understanding gives you remembering. But instead of trying to understand, which takes deep connection, you're just trying to memorize, which is shallow connection. You know? So, that's our first quote for the day. Tell me and I forget, teach me and I remember, involve me and I learn. If you don't know about Benjamin Franklin, he was a very interesting character in American history, in history in general. Very interesting man who had a lot of ideas, and he wrote many of his ideas down. And he has a lot of wisdom. He has a lot of wisdom in a lot of his writing. So you should check it out sometime. You should check it out sometime. Okay, so Sania wants me to say something about time management. Okay, so guess what? You're in luck because the next quote is about time management. Here's the next quote we're going to talk about. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. So, if you're wanting to know about time management is about creating good habits. Okay, procrastination is a bad habit, right? So if you repeatedly do it, then you are a procrastinator. But if you don't, then you aren't. It's that simple. So if you want to be better about time management, then be better about time management. You have to do it once. Treat it like a game. Treat it like a game, Sania. How many days can you manage your time well in a row? Make a little calendar and cross off a day and say, today I managed my time well. Boom, I did one. Then tomorrow, manage your time well. Boom, I did two. Then the next day, manage your time well. Boom, I did 3 days in a row of managing my time well. Now you are doing what you repeatedly do is excellence, right? That's a habit. You've created the habit of excellence, okay, by repeating it over and over, right? And if you fail, then start again, you know? So when you work at a big factory, in America at least, when you work at a big factory, they have a sign. They have a sign on the wall that says something like it'll have a number, and it'll say something like number of days without an accident, right? It's something like that. They have like these signs that say how many days have you gone in this factory without a major accident. And they will, count it. We've had 122 days without an accident. But then John dropped something on his foot. Now he hurt himself. Now they have to go back to 0. So when they put up that sign in the factory, what are they doing? They are trying to create the habit of excellence by saying, wow, you did it. 1 day, we did it. Let's do 2 days. Okay, 2 days, you did it. Great. Let's do 3 days. Okay? Say something about getting off phone addiction. Very quickly, I will say this. I generally think that the problem of phone addiction is not that you're using the phone too much. It's that you're using the phone too much to do stupid stuff. So, if I give a kid a phone, and let's see, we have two kids. One kid is playing on the phone for 8 hours, and the other kid is also playing on the phone for 8 hours. That's a lot of time. But one kid, Kid A, is playing games, playing silly games that have no real value. And they're looking at stupid videos and scrolling on stupid posts about stupid stuff that's not interesting or valuable, or it doesn't teach you anything, right? All the stupid videos that are on TikTok, right? Or the reels, or any of those short videos that are 3 seconds that have no value whatsoever. You have one kid who's doing that, but then the other kid, Kid B is on the phone for 8 hours, but they're reading, they're watching educational videos, they're watching documentaries or classic movies, classics, not movies like Adam Sandler classics. I mean like a classic movie that's something that you would talk about in a classroom, okay? So the point is that it's not how much you're on your phone. It's what you do for that time on your phone. So, you should turn your phone into a device of productivity, not a device of distraction. Turn your device into a device of productivity, not a device of distraction. Okay? So use interesting apps that teach you things, right? Find the most educational apps that you can find. On your Facebook or your Instagram or your TikTok, get rid of all the stupidity. Every time you see a stupid video, get rid of it. Because you need to understand that that's how those things work. If you watch it, it's going to give you more of that. So whatever you spend your time on, that's what's going to come more, they're going to give you more of, right? So every time you have to resist the urge. You have to resist the urge to watch those stupid videos and instead just get rid of them. Treat them like this is your garden. Your social media is a garden. What are you growing? Your social media is a garden. So what are you growing? Are you growing weeds? Or are you growing beautiful flowers and vegetables? Get rid of your weeds. Get rid of the weeds in your garden. Go through your social media and get rid of everything stupid. You will feel so much better. My Facebook is full of things like posts about history and science and philosophy and education and learning and art and music and culture. So if I'm on my phone, it's benefiting me. Now, I still think it is also a good thing to cultivate time away from your phone. To cultivate time in the real world, not with a digital device. Call it communing with nature. Right? So go out to the park. Go for a hike. I like to go fishing. Do some gardening. Do something that's natural. It's very simple. Do something that's natural and simple. Okay? Not everything in life needs to be extreme. Let me read the comments here. Let's see. Hello, Diego. There's something very viral these days called brain rot, and kids are consuming and laughing a lot at this nonsense. Yeah, I agree. I agree that kids are allowing themselves to be distracted by the dumbest garbage. And not just kids. It's just, what's the best way to describe it? It's not just kids. It's kids and adults. So it's not the age that matters. It's the awareness and mindfulness that matters. So mindfulness is a really important thing. And your phone can definitely be a distraction from simple mindfulness. So you need to remember that. Staying on your phone instead of paying attention to really important things is a great problem. Yeah, it is. You know, again, you just have to remember, you have to treat your device like it's something that works for you and not something that you are addicted to. There's a difference. You know, you have to manipulate your addiction. Manipulate your addiction to be a positive thing. So if you're going to be on for 8 hours, be on for 8 hours doing positive things. All right, how to deal with toxicity. I don't know what kind of toxicity you're talking about in particular. You have to tell me a little more. I can't answer that if I don't know. That's too general. When you read books, how to counter words that are not known. Don't read books that are too difficult, where you have too many words. Okay, if every sentence has 2 or 3 words you don't know, that book is a bit too hard for you, right? So you should choose something that's in a level that you do have to look up words, but not that often, right? Maybe 3 to 5 per page, right? So you're reading one page and maybe there are 3 or 4 or 5 new words on one page. That's enough. But if you have 10 or 20 new words on one page, then that book is too difficult for you. All right, let me get to my next quote. Let's see. Let's get to the next quote. Let's talk about this. No. Here's our next quote. And hello, Jenny. The next quote is, "A different language is a different vision of life." I can't even say his name. Federico Fellini, the great movie maker, Italian movie maker. Hello, Belen. Hello, Olia. Hello, Ornella. Information hygiene. Ooh, I like that term. I like that term, Vadim. Is that a term that you came up with, or is that a term that you've read before? I like that concept, though, information hygiene. I call it curating your feed. My term is to curate your feed. You know, whatever your feed is and whatever app, curate it. You know, like a museum. Museums don't let you put anything in the museum. You have to put good things in the museum, right? So your mind is a museum. What's in your museum? That's a good way to put it. How bad is your museum? Let me put it to you that way. How terrible of a museum is your mind? You know? Right? True, but lots of those, some garbage, they make lots of money and they become rich. Are you talking about the video games? Okay, listen. If anyone makes money playing video games and is successful doing that, congratulations. And at the same time, How sad for you. Because something so trite shouldn't be the reason for your success in life. And I'm sorry, but video games are all trite. Do you know what trite means? What does trite mean? Trite. Trite. Trite means silly, unimportant, not worth spending time on. It's trite. Okay. If you're just joining, hello. Nice to see you. I'm glad you're here. If you have questions, great. But I'm busy now. I have something I want to do. So you can listen to me do it and wait with your questions. Okay? And Ornella says, if you know different languages, you have a variety of tools to understand the world better. That's right. Yeah, a different language is a different vision of life. Means that when you learn a new language, it's like seeing the world with new eyes. It's like seeing the world with new eyes, and it allows you to talk to people that you couldn't talk to before. So you can get all new information about the world you live in. Right? So it's a completely different vision of life. A different language is a different vision of life. Words are how we define the world around us. And we all have different languages to define that world. So it's natural to think about each one of these worlds, each one of these languages is like a shade that all of your vision is colored by. So some people have a shade of green, and some people have a shade of blue, and some people have a shade of red. Right? And when you are able to learn their language, you can see this new color in the world. You know? Okay, Sania, I like your questions, and I'm glad you're here, but I do want you to pay attention to what I am teaching today. Okay? Language is not important. I don't know what you mean by that, Benjamin. Language is very important. Trite. 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 It means silly, unimportant. Okay? Things that are trite are silly, things that are unimportant. Benjamin says, if you want to travel, I don't think language is very important. What, Benjamin? Have you ever traveled before, Benjamin? Do you understand that it's so much easier to travel if you know the language? I speak Chinese. Do you know how much easier it is for me if I travel to China? It's important, man. It's very important, man. Okay, I'm going to move on to my next topic. Okay, good, Benjamin. I'm glad we're on the same page now. Okay, again, look at me, please. Hi, I'm glad you have questions, but do you understand that I'm not here just to answer your questions? I'm here to teach something that I want to teach. Can you understand that? So please, 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 just watch and listen for a while, okay? You don't have to, but I'm not going to pay attention to your questions anymore. Because if you're asking me questions, do you know what that means? It means you are not listening to me. So if you are not listening to me, then guess what? I am not listening to you. All right? That's how this works. All right. Since we're talking about the importance of language, let's talk about this quote. Here's the next quote. The next quote is here. The limits of my language mean the limits of my world. Ludwig Wittgenstein. The limits of my language mean the limits of my world. The limits of my language mean the limits of my world. What does it mean? Ravi says it means you need to learn a different language. It doesn't just mean a different language, Ravi. Even your own language. If you are limited in your own language, then your world is very limited. If you're limited by your own language, whatever language it is, then you are limited in what you can do and what you can say and what you can express and what you can feel. Right? Well, you can feel it, but you can't tell anybody about it. Right? Yes, that's correct. That's the Chinese translation. Without words or concepts, yes, that's right. Things could be invisible or unappreciated. You need words to be able to describe things. You need words to be able to think about things and feel things. Words help us feel better. I mean, not better like, I feel better now. No, I mean like they help us understand more. If you have the right word to describe something, it's like you feel so much better that you're able to express yourself correctly. This word describes what I'm feeling exactly. And when you can find that word, it's like, wow, all that feels good to be able to say what I'm really feeling. Right? So yeah. Oh, I like that. Language is a bridge. That's right. Language is a bridge. Yeah. That's right. You don't know how to express your feelings or your ideas if you don't know much about the language. That's right. Yeah. You can't connect with the whole world. That's right. Or I won't say you can't connect, but I will say it's much harder to connect. And you have to find other ways to connect, right? There are people who are unable to speak in this world, but they can communicate. They can express themselves. They just have to do it in another way. You know? But if you have the ability to speak, then learning language should be very important to you, because learning language is what allows you to speak about the world you live in better. You know? Boundaries in your language means boundaries in your life. That's right. Good. Very good. Well done. Okay, let's go on to the next quote. Here's one of my favorite quotes. Socrates. Education is the kindling of a flame, not the filling of a vessel. Socrates, or the proper way, Socrates. Education is the kindling of a flame. What does that mean? Education is the kindling of a flame. Do you guys know what kindling is? To kindle. Have you guys ever heard of the app called Kindle? Do you know why they call it Kindle? Why do they call the app Kindle? Kindle means to make a fire, to start a fire, is to kindle something. And in this case, they're talking about the screen has it's backlit. It's backlit, right? So the fire is the backlighting of the Kindle. That's why it's called a Kindle. Okay? But education is the kindling of a flame, not the filling of a vessel. What that means is a vessel is something that holds things, right? So sometimes you are thinking about learning like you're supposed to be putting things in your brain. Like you just put things in your brain. You fill up your brain. That's what you're doing. That's not really what education is supposed to be. Education is supposed to be like there's a fire in your mind that is now lit, and it's the fire of passion and curiosity. Okay? So that's what education does. It lights the fire of passion and curiosity. You have a passion to be curious. Then you want to learn more. So everybody knows someone who's like this, right? Can you think of somebody like this that you know? Somebody who, when they learn things, learning is not this chore. It's not a task. It's not a difficult thing where they're just putting information in their brain and it's very stressful. When they learn, it's almost like fun for them because they have passion and they have curiosity. Okay? So a vessel, Jazzy, is just think of it like a bowl. Just eat one. Okay? It's something that holds something, right? So some people are just trying to hold, like to fill up the container. Yeah, a container. Okay? It's a container. So instead of thinking about your mind and learning like you're supposed to just put information in your brain, your container, right? Don't think of it that way. Instead, think of it like you're supposed to find a way to light that fire. You're supposed to find a way to light that fire of passion and curiosity. And then, when you have that fire lit, education becomes play. Education is playful. And then it's fun. That's a whole different thing. Okay? So, for example, how do you know when you see a great teacher? How do you know when you're watching a great teacher? What's the difference between a good teacher and a bad teacher? Anyone? What's the difference between a good teacher and a bad teacher? Treatment says knowledge. I disagree. Two teachers can both have the same amount of knowledge, but one might be bad and one might be good. Key says kindness. Kindness is important. It helps, but we're still not finding the right thing. Kindling your passion. Passionate and responsible about the profession. Love. Ability to motivate. So what we're talking about right there is how they make you feel. That's the difference between a good teacher and a bad teacher. A good teacher makes you want to come to class. You want to be there. You want to listen. You want to learn. You want to study. Your fire has been lit. A bad teacher is one that makes you feel like you're just there filling the vessel. You're just listening to them give you information, and you're just taking the information and shoving it into your brain. Okay? But a good teacher makes you want to be there. They make you want to learn more. They make you want to push yourself more. Right? So it's the same thing. A good teacher knows that they're supposed to be lighting a flame, that flame of curiosity. Bad teachers make you feel bad about yourself. Some of them do, sure. Some of them do, yeah. But more importantly, a good teacher is just supposed to light a fire. They're supposed to be a flame lighter, a fire starter. But there are lots of teachers who are just so boring and uninspiring that they don't light any fires. But you need to remember that about yourself, okay? Because a teacher can light the fire. Yes, a teacher can light your fire of learning. But guess what? You can light the fire of learning and the passion for curiosity. You can do that. You used to have a passion for curiosity. Every child had a passion for curiosity. Every child in this world asked questions about the world. But then we grew up and we stopped asking questions. And we stopped having that fire and flame of curiosity. Why? Did you learn everything about the world? Do you know everything now? Does the world offer no secrets to you anymore? Or have you just let life become passionless? Have you let your life become passionless? Life is full of passion. It's there. But passion requires a person to start the fire. Passion requires someone to start the fire. And the fire begins with curiosity. Okay, let's see. Let me check out some of the comments here. A bad teacher makes me lazy to learn. That's right. Yeah, a good teacher usually tries to do everything they can to encourage you to want to learn. Learning can't always be fun, but it should be as often as possible. Learning should be playful as often as possible. You should always start with the idea of learning through play. Always start there. Okay, now, there are some things that must be learned that require focused dedication and focused concentration, and they're not very playfully fun, not in a directly obvious way. And those things must be learned in that way. But most education, most learning should always be approached from a standpoint of fun, from learning, from being playful with the learning. You must keep the fire lit. That's right. You don't have that fire. Why not, Nabella? Why not? Come on. You do. You just haven't found it yet. So let me ask you a question, Nabella. What are you curious about? Tell me, what are you curious about? And if you don't know, then that's your job for the next week or month. I want you to sit down, go to a coffee shop, sit down, have a coffee, and I want you to sit down and think about what you are curious about. And don't tell me you're not curious about anything, because that's BS. You're curious about things. You just need to think about it a little bit to figure out what you're curious about. Everyone is curious about something. Okay? You are welcome. Alejandro's not having a good day. What's wrong, Alejandro? Yes, you do need to think about it. Now, Bella, let me give you one of my quotes, okay? I'm going to tell you one of my quotes. Here's a quote from me. Curiosity is the smoke of passion. So if you want to find your passion, find your curiosity first. So think about it like passion is a fire, and you're looking for the fire. Where is the fire? How do you find a fire? If there's a fire nearby, how do you find it? What's the first thing you do? How do you notice a fire? Most of the time, what's the first thing you notice about a fire? The smoke. That's right, because the smoke travels very far. And even if it's just a little smoke, you go, do I smell smoke? I think I smell smoke, right? That's like curiosity. There are things that you're curious about that are almost the same thing. It's almost like you go, what is that about? Oh, I want to know more about that. Okay? And if you follow that, follow the smoke. Where's that smoke coming from? Oh, it's coming from over there. I'm going to go find that over there. Keep going towards it, and then you'll find it. Right? So find your curiosity and then pursue it. Chase after it. And there, at the end of that, will be your passion. Okay? Patch Adams was a movie that had that talks about the hardest things can be learned with fun. That's true. Yeah. Yeah. Alejandro, do you want to talk about it, man? What's wrong today, Alejandro? Where are you? Are you still here? Tell me what's wrong today, buddy. I don't know if you're still here or not, Alejandro. There is no smoke without fire. Ah. Is this a chicken and the egg kind of a thing you're trying to do on me, Valerie? uh, yeah. So the the relationship of fire being first and smoke being second. Sure, that's not exactly paralleled in the idea of smoke and curiosity and passion and fire. But um, don't overanalyze a simple concept. The concept is very simple. Curiosity is one of the most important facts in human life. Without curiosity, we are doomed. Curiosity is how we have learned everything. It's our curious nature that drives us to want to do more and learn more and be better. So, curiosity is crucial. It's critical. And so, everyone's job is to find your curiosity. Everyone's job is to cultivate their passion and their fire. The world becomes like heaven when everyone knows their passion and can share it. Thank you, Nabella. I'm glad you like my explanations. Curiosity kills the cat. That's what they say. But let me ask you a question. When you think about cats, what do you think about? What do cats do most of the time? They sleep. So they're not that curious most of the time. So when they are awake, that's the problem with cats, is that cats are asleep for most of their time. So when they're awake, then they become kind of hyperactive and hyper curious. And then they get into trouble because they're playful and over curious. But curiosity is still crucial, because without curiosity, we don't learn. Without curiosity, we don't learn. Okay? Nagam says, I think the curiosity comes first, like when we're babies and you're curious about things, then we develop a passion, and then comes the commitment. That's true. Yeah. But the commitment to a passion is easy if you maintain the fire. Right? The commitment to the passion is actually a very easy thing when you have the fire. When you have the flame, the commitment is easy. You don't even think about it. Commitment is not even the way to look at it, because, put it this way, Nagam, drumming is not something that I do. Drumming is something that I am. So I can't, there is no discussion of commitment, because you can't be committed to being something that you are innately. You're already that thing. There is no commitment to being something innately. So, when you find a passion and really it takes hold of you, that's when you are committed. You're committed because you love it. There is no discussion of commitment. You're a very curious person. Sometimes you get into trouble because of that. Okay, but sometimes you also have So if you get into trouble sometimes, then you also get into wonderful sometimes. Getting into wonderful, I like that. Because sometimes you're curious and it's a wonderful thing, right? Maybe you're curious about this new restaurant and you go try it and it's amazing. So occasionally your curiosity does good things for you. The nature of being curious is exploring things that are new. And when you explore things that are new, there's always a danger. There's a danger of the unknown. Does that mean you shouldn't learn about it because it's possibly dangerous? No, it means that learning comes with a responsibility of care. So curiosity killed the cat because it's a cat. Cats don't have care in their curiosity. Humans can have care in their curiosity. Okay? Humans can have care in their curiosity. Not always. Occasionally our curiosity does get us into trouble. But just as often or more often, our curiosity gets us into wonderful things. The more curious you are, the harder it is to focus. That's never been my experience. The more curious I am, the easier it is to focus. But, you know, everybody's different. Maybe it's different for you, Jake. Maybe it's different for you. Okay, let's do one more quote today. Let's see. Let me find a good one to end today here. Ooh, that's an interesting one. Ooh, I like this one. Let's do this one. I've never heard this one before, but I like it. Here's the next quote we're going to talk about. Language is the dress of thought. Language is the dress of thought. What does that mean? Language is the dress of thought. What does that mean? Come on, let's go. No, language means language. Language means language. It means the words you use, the words you know, the words you put together. That's your language. So language is the dress of thought. What does that mean? So think about it like this way. The words that you know are the clothes that you wear. So what clothes are you wearing? When you wear some clothes, you're presenting yourself in a certain way, right? So if you wear dirty clothes, people will have a certain idea about you, won't they? Right? If you come to a nice restaurant and you're wearing really dirty clothes, people will probably look at you funny, right? Okay? Or if you go camping and you decide to wear a suit, a tuxedo, or a dress, a really nice dress, and you're at camping, people will look at you funny. Right? Because you're not wearing the right clothes for the right thing. Right? So like the language that you use is like the clothes that you wear. The language you use, people are going to listen to the words you say, and they're going to judge you. Just like when you wear clothes, whatever you're wearing, they're going to judge you based on what you're wearing. So, is it fair? No, of course not. We say don't judge a book by its cover, right? You shouldn't judge people by their outside, but by their inside, right? But it's human nature to judge people based on what we see, okay? And words are part of what we see. We hear the words, we see you say things, and then we make judgments about you. So, the words you know and the words you use are like clothes that you wear to present yourself to someone. And if you use the right words, it's like you're dressed properly for the occasion. Okay? And if you show up to a great party, if you show up to a really fancy party and you have the nicest suit, people are going to say, wow, right? Well, if you show up to a party and you have the nicest language, people are going to say, wow. So, the words that you use are like the clothes you wear. How are you presenting yourself to the world? And do you feel comfortable? Are you comfortable wearing those clothes? Do you understand? Okay? Words shape not only our communication, but also our cognition. Words shape not only our communication, but our cognition. Reflecting on the language's role in your identity, you should reflect on how does language play a role in your identity. The words that you're able to use, if you only know words that sound like you're a baby, then people will think like you're a baby. People will view you as a baby. Words represent your image. That's right. There's power in language. When you meet someone that can use language really well, it's like you're seeing a magician. When you see someone who has powerful words and powerful language and an ability to use language in a magical way, they make you want to listen to them. That's magic. That's power. Right? Yeah. So, just like being dressed properly and being dressed poorly, right? If you don't have good words, it's like being dressed poorly. If you have the best words for the best situation, it's like wearing the best suit. Okay? All right, so it has been about an hour, and that is going to be it for me today. But before I go, I do want to say a couple things. I'm going to say this first. Some people have been asking me what book do I recommend reading, and recently I've been reading a book that I highly recommend. And since we're talking about creativity and things like that, curiosity, I want to recommend this today. This is The Creative Act, A Way of Being. The Creative Act, A Way of Being. It's by Rick Rubin. Rick Rubin. And this is one of the best books that I have read in quite some time. I'm not finished with it yet, but so far it is really fantastic. And very... I think it's pretty easy to read. It's a very deep book. It's deep. So the ideas are very difficult ideas, but the language is not difficult, and the chapters are very short. The chapters are like 2 pages. One chapter is 2 pages, maybe 3 pages long. So you can read a chapter and you can read it a few times if you need to understand it better, right? So it's not so difficult. It's about how to bring creativity into your life, no matter what you do. No matter what job you have, no matter what you do in life, it's about how to bring creativity into your life more. How to cultivate creativity. Yeah, so far it's a really great book. And somebody asked, do I have a YouTube channel? I do have a YouTube channel. If you search on YouTube, search for at AFIEC English, or you can go to here. You can go to my link tree right here. This is my link tree. Go to my link tree and you'll find everything. You'll find my website, you'll find my YouTube, you'll find my podcast, everything right there. What year was it published? It's recent, very recent, 2023. 2023. It just came out not long ago. Rick Rubin is one of the most famous music producers. That's right. He's the music producer. He's a genius, this guy, you know. People talk about Elon Musk as a genius. No, I'm sorry, but Elon Musk, his knowledge or his brilliance is nothing compared to somebody like Rick Rubin. Rick is a true genius in the truest sense of the word. So, I highly recommend The Creative Act: A Way of Being by Rick Rubin. If you're interested in a good, deep book that will inspire you, I think it'll inspire anyone. I don't care what you do. You can be an accountant, and this book will help you to understand how to bring creativity into your life as an accountant. If you are a painter, it'll help you bring creativity into your life. If you are a teacher or a doctor or a lawyer, it will help you bring creativity into your life. Once again, the name of the book is The Creative Act: A Way of Being by Rick Rubin. The Creative Act: A Way of Being. Okay? Okay, so I have to go. Please follow my website as well. If you follow my website, you can find many, many resources to study English online on my website for free. Okay? Can you find the audiobook? Probably. Yes, I imagine so. I'm not sure, but probably. Okay? And yes, the book was also posted on my Moments as well. That's correct. Yes. All right, so I'm going to go. Thank you guys for watching and listening. Have a good morning, have a good afternoon, have a good evening, wherever you live in the world. You are welcome, Nora. I will see you guys tomorrow. Okay? Thanks, guys. Bye.